What's going on, guys? Gonna do a little Q&A here. Got a great question that came in through my blog on the contact form. And been a long time since I've done a Facebook Live. I tend to do these on Instagram. And I actually deleted the Facebook app a while ago. So I think I deleted it maybe 6 to 8 weeks ago. So I am going to answer these 3 questions that came in from Alessandro, and from there I could take more questions. So hope you guys enjoy this. These are some really cool questions, and that's why I wanted to bring them and do this live. So the first question says, what single factor do you think most helped you succeed in finding your passion when so many others do not? So I like that question. I love that question. And sometimes I say that, wow, I wish I wasn't so passionate. I say, I wish I sucked. And I wish life would be so much easier if I just enjoyed being average. Because then you don't get so emotional over everything. And I've been speaking with a lot of passionate people, actually, many who sell their gym because they find it very hard to take the advice of don't let your emotions get involved, shut off your emotions, don't be so passionate, don't connect to the person's lack of energy or lack of results. And so because they cannot change who they are, which I totally get that. Hey Frank, thank you, and thanks for everybody for coming in. They sell the gym because they feel like they cannot relate to somebody who's going to be happy with mediocrity. So I always, really, I don't want to say always, but when I started consistently exercising and training in the end of 8th grade, I became that guy that my friends all wanted to train with. I still remember a group of guys I would train with. They were a year or 2 older than me, and they would say, I don't want to go to the gym unless you're there. You get me going. You get me fired up. And I loved just training. And I also remember when I was a phys ed teacher, I brought fire. I loved being great for those kids. Whether I was tired or not, it didn't matter, because what did matter was who was I serving. So I think passion is a tricky word, and saying that you're successful is also tricky, because one thing I am very transparent about is I never feel like I am a success or I've achieved success. I always feel like I'm trying to get somewhere, and it's actually something somebody brought to my attention. They said that is a problem, because you're always focused on being, or you're always focused on doing. You're not focused on being. And maybe it's the curse of being a wrestler is, you pin somebody, but then you're like, I could have scored more and then pinned him, or I could have beat him by more points. And you just go through this thing of never being satisfied. So it's very difficult when people say to me, this is, amazing, these gyms and how all these people are following you. So I'm actually I'm really just working hard on sometimes stopping and saying, yeah, man, like, this is pretty damn cool what you've done, from mom and dad's little garage and backyard to just having, I don't know how many people are watching right now, 9 people. 9 is 900% more than 0. So, being successful is tricky. It depends on your mindset. But in a old audio program I had, I believe it's called The Strangest Secret by Nightingale, Earl Nightingale. And Amir, thanks so much, my friend. and said, the success is the person who's moving towards and actualizing a goal. So if you're a stay-at-home mom and that's what you wanted to do and you wanted to be with your babies at home and you're doing it, then you are a success. If you are a history teacher in 6th grade and that's what you love to do, then you are a success. And I think we equate success, or too many people equate success to, how many Instagram followers do you have? How many people comment on your YouTube video? How many YouTube subscribers and videos do you have? I know certainly I've gotten caught up in that, and you start questioning, why don't I have more? And what's really most important is the people that are like in the gym, who's coming through the door. That's who you got to focus on giving your energy to, not the people that aren't in front of you. So being passionate could come in many shapes or forms. It doesn't have to be an entrepreneurial venture. A lot of times my success moments, I'll tell you one success moment. I saw Coach Pat Santoro jumped on here. When I got hired at Lehigh University to train the wrestling team, the morning that I took them to train on the field with the mountains in the background, and they were just pummeling, and it looked like a scene from Gladiator. The mountains were in the back, the fog was like down on the ground, and the world kind of paused. Everything paused for those brief moments, and I was like, wow. The whole timeline flashed in front of me to where I came from to being there. It was something really amazing for me. So I try to really look at a lot of things to, say, this is what makes me success. Coach Gonzalez is on here, and I had his gymnastics class. I may have been 19, maybe 20. I'm almost 42. And so that's about 22 years ago I had his class. And I still take the lessons from what he taught me, which was really of showing up, constantly doing the work, and never giving up. And I share a story for Mr. Gonzalez, was that he demonstrated the ring muscle up for us. And we had a class filled with wrestlers. I think like 9 out of 10 guys were wrestlers. So it was a very, alpha male physical class. And I remember a couple guys, maybe 3 out of the 25 guys were able to do muscle-ups. And in my mind, I was saying, I'm going to get that muscle-up. Like, I will get it before I leave. And one day, I remember just jumping up and trying. I don't know how many times I tried and didn't get the muscle-up. And I remember my wrists were bleeding. And Mr. Gonzalez walked by, and I showed him my wrists. I don't know why. Like, I just showed it to him. I didn't say anything, but maybe I thought he would say, okay, take a break. And he said, get back up there. And that lesson to me was, okay, you're bleeding. That doesn't mean we stop. We don't slow down. We're still capable, and we go. And from that point on, I don't know how long it took me to get the muscle up, but I got that muscle up around Thanksgiving. So it was like, a good 8-9 weeks into the program. I get my muscle up, and then for the next week or two, I can't get the muscle up. And he says to me, he goes, yeah, you don't want it anymore. It's in the back of your head. You accomplished your goal, and you don't want it anymore. And he walked away, and I was pissed off. And I was like, he's right. I achieved something, and I just, I did the muscle up. And that's, to me, success is you achieve, and you move, and you attack, and you move forward, and you keep moving forward. Because if you take too long to pat yourself on the back, people are passing you by. And you're losing out on what you are truly capable of, which is just constant improvement. And I think that's what keeps me passionate about stuff. And I also make whatever I'm trying to do, it has to be bigger than you. It's bigger than me. The Underground Strength Gym is not about me. It's not about me. It's about those kids. It's about the people. It's about their parents putting the trust in myself and the coaches to change their child's life. Not just to help that kid, win more wrestling matches, score more touchdowns, hit the ball further. That's the surface. That's what people see on the surface. But they want their child to have confidence, to walk tall, to walk strong, to put that dedication in all areas of their life. So when I get an email such as, my son has never taken off his shirt at the swimming pool since he's been, age 10 up until 16. He takes his shirt off at the pool now. I shared something to the gym members. I did a live Q&A this morning on Instagram, and a father posted that his son graduated college last year. We trained his son for 2 years in high school and then every summer during college, and he said his son is taking that dedication, that fire, those things that he learned from the underground, and now he's applying it to his life. To me, that's a champion. That's the champion of life. Or as my friend says in jiu-jitsu, he had a purple belt. He traveled and trained under a world champion. The world champion said, "Oh, you've got the purple belt, and I know you want that black belt. Everybody wants the black belt." He goes, "But you know what's more important than the black belt in jiu-jitsu? The black belt in life." And to me, that's where I got to keep moving towards, that discipline. And I just find the beauty in that. I find the beauty in being an uncommon man. And everything I find that makes me quote-unquote normal, like the other people out there, I hate it. I want you guys to punch me in the face when I catch myself being the normal man or normal human being. So, I wasn't always passionate. I've certainly never always felt like I'm a success, I'm on this podium. In fact, I feel more like all of you probably, and more awkward being in front of people than I do, acting as if I am a leader of sorts. To me, I always feel better with that blue-collar work ethic, hands dirty, and getting my hands in those trenches. But maybe that's not the best thing to do. I don't know if it is the best, but it is in my heart. Let's check out the next question here from Alessandro. He says, and stick around, guys, because his third question is awesome. And I hope you guys are getting excited with this stuff, fired up. Feel free to invite your friends. I don't know how to invite other people. He says, what do you think my diet, calories, and exercise routine should look like for soccer? So I'm not sure how old you are, my friend Alessandro, but we train a lot of soccer players. And the soccer players we train, they're club players. So they play with school, they play with their club, they travel around the country as well as overseas. So they're pretty serious about soccer. And, everybody thinks they need a lot of fancy stuff. But if you look at our videos on YouTube and Instagram and any of the workout videos we do, we attack their weak points. We do the pull-ups, the push-ups, the calisthenics, the squat variations, the kettlebells, the dumbbells. We do a lot of jump training, a lot of med ball throwing, a lot of hurdle work, jumping in various directions, jumping on and over obstacles to develop that reactive speed, that change of direction. And then most of all, they must blend our physical preparation with their soccer sports skill. And that takes a lot more work than the physical preparation because they have to train with a coach. Then they have to do skill work on their own, go out and dribble, kicking against the wall, kicking against targets to score, working on goalie skills or whatever position they are. So we really encourage them to do the things, not just with their soccer coach and with us, but all the extras. And with regards to nutrition, what we do is we break down some very simple stuff for our athletes. You have a breakfast, lunch, afternoon meal, then you have dinner, then you have a late night meal. You have a good blend. If you're a very, active soccer player, you probably need a pretty even blend of protein, carbs, and fats, plus or minus 5 to 10% of each. I always say you want to have one salad a day. Your breakfast should be a nice serving of protein, some light carbohydrates, and then from there, a lot of meat, veggies, potatoes. For example, yesterday I grilled dinner. I put chicken in a frying pan, a little bit of oil, salt and pepper. The baked potatoes were sliced up and put in the oven, so come out like French fries. Did the same thing with string beans, and I try to have one salad a day. A little bit of fruit. I don't think that's a bad thing for our athletes who are very active. And listen to Rob Wolf. I like how he is a very much even-keel guy about eating healthy and eating just a lot of moderation, whereas what we see today is extreme this, extreme that. You either have to do intermittent fasting, or you have to be keto, or you have to carb load. And whatever happened to just eating healthy and having that moderation of protein, carbs, fats blended together? I'm going to answer David's question before the last question, which I'm excited about. David says, do you find mornings or evenings during the school year to be more popular for the young athletes? Well, during the school year, we don't train them in the morning. We open up the gym at 4 o'clock, and it depends on our location. In my hometown of Manasquan, being by the beach, we're not near New York City, so the people get home earlier, things shut down earlier. We run it at 4, 5, and 6 p.m. Up north, our 7 p.m. used to sometimes get packed with athletes. Their parents work late nights, parents commuting from the city, and we train a lot of, it's really amazing how many athletes do these sport practices late at night. Our wrestlers might start practice at 7 at night for a club. Some of our hockey players are going at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. to practice. I'm about to pass out at 9 o'clock at night, so it's pretty crazy. We train the athletes 4, 5, 6. Training of the adults tends to be, we do like a 7 p.m. mixed adult athlete group at one of our locations. And then our mornings are 6:30 and 9 a.m. for the adults. 9 a.m. tends to be a lot of the stay-at-home or stay-at-home moms or the entrepreneurs who work from home. And then 6:30 tends to be people who want to get that workout in before they kick off their day. Ed Cohn, the master, is watching. Ed, I'm holding a seminar 2 weeks from now with Marty Gallagher. So super excited about that. He always has stories about you, Eddie. So really cool to see a lot of your stuff. I don't know. I think your book is, I have your book, The Man, the Myth, The Man, the Myth, The Method. Your book that Marty wrote, I have that upstairs, I believe. So I'm going to answer this next question, which is a really cool question by Alessandro. And David, you got it, buddy. And by the way, you invited me on a podcast, but never followed through, baby. So Alessandro says, I am a student, a soccer player, and a huge fan of your sensible but often unexpected fitness and business advice. I don't know why it's unexpected for me. I'm a big believer in gathering data, so I was hoping perhaps that you might take pity on an eager young student and provide a few words of insight to answer these 3 questions. So please, my man, I do not take pity. I love this. I love to be able to share with somebody who is eager. And Alessandro's last question is, what would you do if you were me? I like this question a lot. So here's the question, or here's the answer to that question. Without really knowing a lot about you, and you're asking me about passion and success and soccer, it seems like that's something you're passionate about, playing soccer. So I would recommend that when you are done with college, you find a way to continue your soccer training. And you do something very uncomfortable, such as move to another country or move to another state and join an amateur or do a tryout for a pro soccer team. While you do that, live extremely simple. Rent a bedroom from somebody's house or apartment. Live extremely simple and focus on experience and share it. That could be beautiful. Share it on your Instagram. Let it go to your Facebook and Twitter, whatever else that you might have, and create almost like a mini documentary on all these things that you're doing, because who knows what it could lead to. You asked about being an entrepreneur, and I think documenting what you do and sharing and maybe spending 5 minutes making a Facebook video every day, a 1-minute Instagram video could be amazing. That's number one. Number two, find mentors in what you're doing. So you're young, you're not married, you don't have kids, you don't have a house. I was interviewed a couple weeks ago by Robbie Burke. I believe he's in Ireland, and he's told me how he moved to Boston and did an internship with Mike Boyle. I have no clue where he lived, but he probably rented a pretty crappy apartment and made it happen. Then he said he also went to Exos, or Athletes Performance, with Mark Verstegen in Arizona. He did a lot of experiential things, and I think experiences are huge, and it's one thing I wish I do more of. My friend Tom Venuto is watching, and I follow Tom on Instagram, and he's like hiking and traveling this entire country, and just what he's doing is just blowing my mind. Like, I don't know if he's with somebody or doing it alone, but he's backpacking and camping and driving cross country. And I told my son, I said, Ethan, when you get to high school over the summer, we're going to rent an RV and we're going to drive cross country. We're going to go whitewater rafting, fishing, camping. We're just going to do shit together. We're going to sleep under the moon and watch the stars, and just, do things in a world now that allows you to be extremely mobile and not have to be, in one place all the time. And I think if you do that in this early stage of your life, it is even more of a flexibility for you to live life so much on your own terms, and make new friends, meet new people, listen to people that are older than you. And I think when you do this kind of like traveling experiential thing, I think you will really find out a lot about who you are and what you love to do. And I personally will be very excited to follow you and see what you do. I'll share a cool story. 4 or 5 years ago, I did a certification in Austin. Okay, I did the underground strength coach cert. And this kid, Logan, did the certification. He was in great shape. I believe he was like a minor league baseball player. And when Onnit Academy opened up, he went and did or got a job working for Onnit just a little bit. And then I think he kind of had this epiphany about living minimalist and experiencing life. And I wrote about it, or he did a guest blog on the Zach Evanish blog, and it's called The Hero's Journey. So check it out. And essentially what he did is he bought an old RV, a beat-up RV. He remodeled it so it was nice, and he moved out to New Mexico and did kind of like some construction and home remodeling work for like a multi-billionaire. And that guy would fly to different places, and he would fly with him. And he worked in exchange for being able to kind of experience life. And he got rid of a lot of things. So he got rid of, a normal job. He got rid of paying for an apartment or whatever it is that he had. He lived in this van, and he even stopped lifting weights. He just utilized body weight and calisthenics. And I think he learned a lot about life and about who he is. So that being said, dig into his guest post on the Zach Evanish blog, A Hero's Journey. So hope you guys enjoyed this. And Alessandro, I hope you enjoy this as well. Andrew Carr has a question, a little bit of a different question on training. When training women for powerlifting, is it imperative to find out about their menstrual cycle? Does it factor into how you cycle their training intensity? So for me, I haven't trained any female power lifters. But I would definitely connect with other female powerlifters out there or women's strength athletes. There's so many of them. And I think you'll be able to get really the best advice. And the way I'd like to flip this is I tell people, hey, stay in your lane. So for me, Alessandro said I'm often, shocked with your unexpected fitness advice. Well, I stay in my lane. I tell people, look, I could teach you how to build and grow your small warehouse gym / barbell business. But if you want to know about boot camps and growing a gym to 500 members and all these, special Facebook ads and hacks and funnels, I'm not that guy. So I stay in my lane. But, what's cool about staying in your lane is it's, there's no kind of fakeness to it, meaning I've done it and I do it. I am in the gym. But there's a lot of people out there, I always say, I don't know how people teach others how to run a gym when they're not in the gym business. It's easy to tell other people what to do. The hardest thing is doing that stuff yourself. And I don't like to teach something that I don't actually do. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Share it out. I'll try to get this on YouTube. Figure out if I could download it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great night.